West Virginia, part of Kentucky. When he got done doing that, he went to the Navy. After the Navy, he became a Norfolk police officer for 25 years. And then once he got retired as a sergeant, then he became part of the Virginia Marine Police Department. And now goes and patrols Chesapeake Bay, James River area, Atlantic Ocean. So please let me introduce Bill Thompson.
I wasn't feeling real well. Got I think a little bit of this pollen crud going around. So Don agreed to be here in the tag team if I fall out. So yeah, a little, I guess a little about myself. Talking about my bio. I grew up on the Ohio River, fishing, boating. Lived an entire summer on a boat. Remember those chairs in the little boats that you lift up and pull out and made a little bed? Slept in a little 16-foot glass rod. Like that for an entire summer. Loved it. I'd live on the water if I could. My wife won't let me.
That's what divorces are for.
What's that?
That's what divorces are for.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, interesting story about that. The Navy is what brought me here from Kentucky. Wanted to see the world. Spent 3.5 years at NES Norfolk. Didn't go anywhere. But I met a wonderful woman, and she wanted to get married. I relented. So we decided to get married, and about the time I had 3.5 years on, then I got stationed my first sea duty, USS Saratoga. So I went out to sea for 6 months. I'm pleading with my master chief, wait a minute, I've got 6 months to go. His orders are orders. So got out of the Navy and did construction work in this area for a while. Concrete, framing, roofing, anything I could do. My father-in-law was a sergeant with the Norfolk Police Department. I fell asleep during dinner one night, and he was like, "You need to get a job that isn't going to kill you." And funny enough, I chose to follow in his footsteps. So my wife teases us a lot that she kind of married her father. He was one of the first divers for Norfolk. I was a police diver. He made sergeant. I made sergeant. So our careers kind of followed each other. I spent 6 years on the harbor patrol with Norfolk and decided I absolutely loved boating and law enforcement. My two great loves combined. Started a jet ski program for Norfolk. First year that I got the jet skis donated from Kawasaki to us, I made 8 DUIs from a jet ski that very first summer. And it was easy. I mean, you don't even have to stop the boats. You just go up alongside, engage people in conversation. How you doing? Nice day, catching any fish, that sort of thing. And they look at you and they're slurred, and you're like, okay, the light bulb goes off. So, I had a lot of fun doing that. And so that was my water, boating, law enforcement career there. Made sergeant and got back onto the street and had to do some other things with the police department. And Norfolk has a 25-year retirement that has a salary cap at 65%. So you can't earn any more than 65% at 25 years. So the day I hit 25, I was looking for another job.
Sure.
And I thought, wow, some of the guys I worked with had come to the Virginia Marine Police and said, "Bill, this is absolutely right up your alley. This is what you love to do, and they'll pay you to do it," which is fantastic. So I applied. I think there was about 700 applications.
Wow.
For a couple positions, and I think yours was about.
No, I was hired in the class previous.
How many people applied?
When mine went through, there was 2,000 applicants,
Wow.
for 8 positions.
8 positions, yeah. So it was very, very stiff competition. I didn't think I was going to get it. I kept telling my wife, don't worry about it, I'm a shoe-in. And she's, I'm not sure. Some way, somehow, I ended up getting the job. I tell them to not tell my supervisors this, but there are days out on the water that I just like,
Should
wow,
I stop the camera?
What's that?
Should I stop the video?
Yeah, probably. I'm like, you know, don't tell my supervisors, but I would probably pay them to allow me to do this job. I just love it that much. Enough for me for right now. You introduce Don. This is Bond, Don Bond.
Good evening. I've been with the Virginia Marine Police for a little over 4 years. I'm currently one of the field training officers in the southern area. There's 2 of us. So I've been selected to help train new officers when they come on to our agency, whether they be already certified through another agency or just coming out of the academy. And then part of our training, you know, we cover all the boating regulations, and of course, you know, while we're all here, fishing. And I wish it was just as easy as fishing. And then we've got commercial fishing. And Bill is going to get into that a little bit later on with our regulations, and show you a little bit about that. But the commercial side and the recreational side are night and day. And I'm sure that y'all already realize that. You know, recreational is cut and dry, commercial is a lot of gray. I came from, before I transferred here to Virginia Marine Police, I was a police officer at Old Dominion University. And that was back when the police department at Old Dominion just happened to be on a college campus. We worked hand in hand a lot with Norfolk PD, with the 3rd precinct down there. And it was a lot of fun. Prior to that, I spent 9 years in the penitentiary system. You know, working
Not as an inmate.
Not as an inmate. Sometimes I felt like I was an inmate, but not as an inmate. I was working for the Department of Corrections, and I left the Department of Corrections as a K-9 sergeant. The very first K-9 sergeant that the Eastern region ever had. So I was in charge of the entire K-9 program for the Eastern 3rd of Virginia, for the Department of Corrections. Prior to that, I did some bodyguard work, which was a lot of fun, but, you know, living in a hotel room for months at a time wasn't so fun. Prior to that, I was a police officer in lovely Maui, Hawaii.
What?
Yes.
No, you can't hold a job?
No,
What, Howie boy?
Did you get married or something?
No. Once I got out of the Navy, because that's what took me to Hawaii, was the Navy. I got out and became a police officer there. And then some family medical issues brought me back to the mainland side. And then found my calling. Everybody that works as a Marine police officer, whether they be retired from someplace else or brand new, realizes that this is the best job in the world. We get to go out in a boat and ride around, get paid for it, and every once in a while we actually have to do some work. But, you know,
I had a neighbor the other day that said, when we had all that snow and ice, she goes, "You're not bragging now about your job." I was out there shoveling my truck off and having to go shovel the boat off to put the boat in the water to go out to do some work. So it's not It's not always fun. Sometimes it's real work.
But it's still fun.
It's still fun.
You know, as y'all know, as y'all fish, being out on the water is still better than being cooped up inside.
Somebody else buys a boat, pays for the gas and the maintenance,
Exactly.
and I've died, gone to heaven.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand exactly where the Virginia Marine Police fit in. Is that basically like the Virginia State Police but on the water? Or,
The best analogy that I can come up with when people ask me what it is that I do, everybody knows what a game warden does. Everybody knows what the troopers do. Everybody knows what the Coast Guard does. We are a combination of state trooper, game warden, and Coast Guard for Virginia. And then to top everything off, we're also deputized as special agents for U.S. Fish and Wildlife and National Marine Fisheries.
Is this all coastal waters, or does it include the rivers?
It includes the rivers. Now, like a trooper could go anywhere in the state.
Right.
Generally, they're assigned a certain area, and you know, if they're up there on the interstate, you'll have Virginia Beach and Norfolk. Us, you know, because we're in the southern area, we cover from Richmond down to Carolina, and then because of all the federal duties, out to 200 miles at sea. You know, now Virginia territorial waters is out 3 miles. That's why you can't go rock fishing further than 3 miles, because the feds say it's illegal out there. So we go all the way out there when we're working federal duty.
The Virginia Marine Police is the oldest police agency in the state.
Yes.
Started out as the Oyster Navy and has, morphed through the years into the Virginia Marine Police under the Virginia Marine Resources Commission. So we're the law enforcement arm of the VMRC.
okay,
Yeah.
that kind of puts it in place, because it was just like, it was just kind of hanging out there, and I couldn't figure out where
Right.
it fit.
And that's part of the reason why we're here tonight. They want us to stress to you that, like Officer Bond was saying, we're actually very few people covering approximately 7,000 miles of shoreline. That's an immense territory. But what we got in our favor is a lot of people out there like you all that love being out on the water. You're out there all the time. You got, all these anglers out there on the water all the time. That's multiplied all those eyes that could be helping us. So you all can actually help us more than you know. And that's what we're here for, is to kind of introduce ourselves, let you know what we're out there doing, and let you know if you have any concerns or you see things on the water, report it. I got some business cards in the back that's got our office phone number on it, and website stuff like that, and some materials. Help yourself to them. And if you see things out on the water, give us a call. Yeah.
What kind of information would we want to get or gather to give to you? Because obviously
Well,
we
what
can't
you-
say, hey, I see a guy taking a short striper. What do I do?
Well, some things are just like curiosity. We had a conversation in the back of the room talking about nets having, floats on them out in the open water unattended, which is perfectly illegal because those are commercial fishermen that are doing that. But if you call us and say there's a net somewhere, and I'm not sure if it's legal or not, we could just tell you, yeah, we're aware of that. It's a commercial fisherman and everything's legal. Or, hey, we're not aware of that. It's in an area where it's not supposed to be, and thank you very much for calling, and we'll go check that out. As a matter of fact, anglers up in the Cove area, the hot ditch, everyone's probably been watching the news and reading the papers and stuff like this. Officer Bond and myself were two of the officers that were on the task force to apprehend the people that were illegally netting up there. We originally received our tips from some recreational fishermen. And we went up there, thought maybe it was an isolated case, found a gill net, we pulled it, left the area, saw some people around, no, we don't know anything about that net, okay? Started observing things, went back, got some more phone calls from other concerned citizens and concerned fishermen out there. Hey, there's another net. We go out there, we pull that one. And when I say we pull it, and it's loaded full of speckled trout. Now, this is probably going to kill you all. 90% of the speckled trout
Oh, no.
were all citation. Yeah, the mesh size that they were using was just catching the big ones, the big monsters. You know, one of those that you would wait your lifetime to try and catch for bragging rights. And these nets are full of them. And all these tips originated from people like you. So, you know, that's why we got to get the word out that anything you see out there, you're our eyes out there. We got 7,000 miles of shoreline to cover. We can't cover everything. So we got into that net, and then we realized, hey, this is a bigger thing than just one or two nets out there. So we kind of, Don and I kind of put a task force together. Some of the guys that were very energetic and wanted to, you know, get camoed out and crawl.
The younger group.
The younger group, and you know, and crawl through the bushes at you know, midnight, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock in the morning when it was 18 degrees out. So, oh yeah. So they.
I was the one that had to do all that.
What's that?
I was the one that had to do all that.
What, you and me? They were in the car, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we got the short straw on that one.
Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, we can't tell you too much. It's an ongoing case, but the stakeout was very successful. We recovered between all the nets that we pulled previously and 2.5 tons of fish
Between speckled trout
and red drum.
and red drum.
Catch an individual?
Yes.
Yeah, we have 2 individuals that were caught. Now, let me say this is a precursor. Everyone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Their court cases are coming up. But it was a very successful stakeout, is what I want to convey. And all of that started with people making phone calls. And
Tips.
we really appreciate that.
Were you guys able to do something productive with all that fish that was lost?
What's that?
Were you able to do anything productive with that fish?
We actually started, we had our marine biologists come out. We had, obviously, it's a court case, so everything had to be
Evidence.
pictured, you know, photographed, sized, measured, weighed. There's some reports that were done, and as soon as we were getting that done, we were loading trucks and sending them to food banks.
Very good.
And then the trucks were coming back after several trips saying, hey, the food banks can't handle anymore. So we started going to some church groups, and then we went to some fire stations, and anyone we could get and say, you know, we can put this to good use.
You want to give them our club number?
Our marine biologists, they actually have to purchase fish during the year sometimes to do biological sampling. They say they won't have to purchase any, you know, for a good while. So we helped them out
Excellent.
also.
Very good.
But it was, you know, even though a lot of people benefited from, you know, receiving the fish, it was a terrible, terrible thing that was occurring. And we had to put a stop to it.
That's, I mean, the biggest concern. We appreciate you guys catching. The question is, how long had it been?
Well, we don't suspect that they've been too awful long. I believe they've made some successful trips in and out. But we had started, the guys that fish there, they're die-hard fishermen, speckled trout, and they're up in that area a lot. They started calling us right away when they saw the nets.
Well, the other concern I had was when I heard this whole thing was, who are they selling it?
Well,
I know it's an ongoing case, you
that's
can't
an ongoing
discuss it,
investigation.
But I mean, I really hope that they're getting in as much trouble, because they know they're buying illegal fish.
I can tell you this much. We've had some conversations with what's going to happen in court and such. I believe that there's probably going to be a very strong message sent with this case.
Outstanding.
I can't get into
Yeah,
too many
I get it.
details. Yes, sir.
Maybe this is two questions. Do you stop and inspect boats for safety?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Then-
I was going to get into that.
And I belong to several clubs, and routinely you hear the complaint about getting multiple stops from
Mhm.
different agencies in a single day.
You're still on the thunder again.
And,
That's on my list.
But the,
It's House Bill number.
but an element of that is,
Okay.
there's so many different agencies out there.
Mhm.
When you see something going on, who do you call?
That's a very good point. We handle everything pretty much in the marine environment.
Okay.
So your reckless boating, if it's out here, call us.
Okay.
Your fishing violations, call us.
Okay.
Your drunk boaters, call him. Don has the last 2 or 3 years, last 3 years has gotten an award from MAD for the most boating under the influence arrests for our agency.
Great.
He loves going out and looking for the drunk boaters.
Good.
I think that was kind of a two-part thing.
Well, it was just more
Who to
you
report
call is
things
my most
to,
important.
right?
We all know the noise on the other side.
Well, let me start again a little bit about what we do. We kind of got interrupted a little bit on that. We wear so many different hats. We are federally sworn. We're state sworn. There are certain local municipalities that, in their city charters, allow us to enforce their city codes even. So we actually have more law enforcement than any other law enforcement agency in the state. We handle boating accidents. So all of your saltwater boating accidents, that would be us. If you're on an inland lake, you're at Lake Moomaw, Lake Gaston, stuff like that, that'd be Game and Inland Fisheries.
Okay.
Right. Any of your freshwater stuff, Game and Inland Fisheries would handle that kind of stuff. Anything that's saltwater is pretty much we handle. Boating accidents, we do commercial fishing, and that runs the entire gamut. All of your trawlers that come in, we do boarding inspections on them, make sure that all their paperwork's right, what they're bringing into the state is correct, making sure there's no, and that's a big one there too. You know, we're looking for all kinds of things. We're looking for homeland security type issues. We're looking for the seafood that's coming into the state. We're looking for drug transport. You know, it's a pretty big thing that we do there.
How many are you?
There's 70 of us statewide. Statewide.
Yeah.
How about-
And we work the southern area.
Yeah.
The southern area is basically the North Carolina line, the lower bay, and all the tributaries up through the James River to Richmond.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big, big area.
And how many in your
And
group?
how many in your group?
There's
18? 19.
18.
Don't forget
18.
Joe.
18 of us.
24-hour service.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And we do not deny any calls for service. I've gotten a radio message, where are you? I'm at Sandbridge on the pier. Okay, we've got somebody that's keeping too many fish on the Colonial Parkway.
Whoa.
On my way.
Oh.
Right. So,
Hopefully I'll be there in 2 or 3
Yeah.
hours.
I've been out at the Chesapeake Light Tower and responded to a boat accident at the mouth of the Chickahominy.
Oh, wow.
right. And the fortunate thing, like you were mentioning, there's a lot of law enforcement on the water. So hopefully if we don't get there first, there's been calls that you called. We thought a vehicle had actually gone off the Monitor Merrimack, and he actually pulled up behind it. Actually, a truck had gotten rear-ended somebody, then cut like half of the truck in two, and
Yes.
a lot of the material went into the water. But we thought maybe a car went too.
Right.
We were right on top of it.
Right.
We had a boat crew out there that was at the shipyard there. So we were 2 minutes from coming around to locate it. We were right on top of that one.
Are we getting gritty if we take pictures?
What's that?
If we see something that's fairly flagrant,
Oh, absolutely.
And we pull out our iPhone or whatever and shoot a few shots and make a call.
Sure, sure. We just ask that you don't get yourself in any danger. You know,
Right.
you know, you're not the police officers out there. But we've gotten people that have sent us boat numbers and such as that. And I had one guy that was, it was a striper case. He sent me pictures of, it was a commercial guy that wasn't tagging all of his rock. And sent me pictures and said, you know, we suspected this guy was doing this, but we've never been able to catch him. Now we had photographic evidence of it.
I've gotten pictures of, out of the ocean front with people running nets, catching striped bass.
And everyone has cell phones now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Pictures of
it's
the,
unbelievable.
pictures of the fish, pictures of the gentleman cleaning the fish,
Mhm.
pictures of the gentleman's vehicle with his license plate.
Right.
Now, is that
It was
enough?
very, very